I think it's up to the viewer to take away from it what they would, well, their first impressions are always interesting, and when I'm chatting to the viewer about my work, it's quite interesting to hear what people's interpretation is of it. I mean, I have my own interpretation. I think it's more to do with the human mind and the fragility of the human mind, and how we're always balancing on that fine line between sanity and insanity. And I think the glass and the fragile nature of the glass, the making process of this glass involves taking the glass to pretty extreme conditions, so that each piece is made very quickly and has sort of inbuilt flaws, so it's quite fragile. So I think the glass itself has a sort of lacy quality, lacy texture, and it looks very light and fragile, and it looks like it could break at any moment, stacked upon one upon the other on the rusty spikes. I think it is quite important because of the natural qualities of the glass, fragility. It can be broken at any instant, yet it is quite beautiful and quite striking, and it catches the light. So it has all the different qualities that one might associate with somebody who's on the edge. They have all these things going on in their mind and all these different thoughts. And to me, all these pieces are actually thought bubbles in a way. They have these very fragile sort of thought bubbles that come and go. I've moved from making glass that might be displayed on a plinth or a sideboard to more sculptural use of the glass. And I think this is quite important in that glass has always traditionally been seen as a beautiful, pretty thing, and to be able to use it in a more sculptural, more shocking or enlightening way is quite important to me. I think it's important the use of iridescence and shiny and pretty and lacy juxtaposed against the rusty and hard and sharp brings to mind that struggle between sanity and insanity, and it brings to mind the institution and how people can, their whole life can be just balanced on that very fine line between complete destruction and beauty. We have such a short period of time to live our lives, and when our lives become overwhelmed, I think death hangs in the air. You know, you think, certainly in my experience of people dealing with, or in this case my mother, dealing with this depression and insanity, is that death is almost seen as a companion, and it's almost seen as would almost be seen as a welcome release from this insanity. But then again, there's always that will to live, that sort of something that keeps you going through all the stress and the trial and the tribulation. When you're working as a craftsperson and you're making beautiful objects, it has its own sort of satisfaction, but it has no message, it has no story, no narrative, and it's only when you start thinking in terms of fine art that you can start to express yourself and your narrative and your thoughts.